Shilpa ji, you are on mute. We cannot.
Sorry about that. Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shashanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So let's continue reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2, Text 28. Uddhav is speaking still to Vidur. Kaumarim darshayam chestam prekshaniyam vrajokasam ruddan iva hasan mukta bala simhavalokanaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When the Lord displayed His activities just suitable for childhood, He was visible only to the residents of Vrindavan. Sometimes He would cry and sometimes laugh, just like a child. And while so doing, He would appear like a lion cub. If anyone wants to enjoy the childhood pastimes of the Lord, then he has to follow in the footsteps of the residents of Vraj, like Nanda, Upananda, and other parental inhabitants. A child may insist on having something and cry like anything to get it, disturbing the whole neighborhood. And then immediately, after achieving the desired thing, he laughs. Such crying and laughing is enjoyable to the parents and elderly members of the family. So the Lord would simultaneously cry and laugh in this way and merge His devotee parents in the humor of transcendental pleasure. So Krishna, although He's God, He just doesn't sit down in a big throne and says, okay, now everybody bow down to me because I'm the Supreme Lord, I'm the most powerful, nobody's more powerful than me. But He likes to have this loving exchanges, these emotions with His devotees and in different capacities. So here His childhood pastime is being narrated, how He would laugh and cry like an ordinary child to give pleasure to His parents. These incidents are enjoyable only by the residents of Raj, like Nanda Maharaj, and not by the impersonalist worshippers of Brahman or Paramatma. So, impersonalist who just wants to go in the Brahma Jyoti, he cannot.
We can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear? Now?
I can.
Shilpa, we can't hear you.
We can.
Oh?
I can hear you, the whole thing you said.
Oh, you can hear?
Yeah, I can hear properly.
Oh, you can hear?
Yeah,
So
I can
then,
hear Snehaji.
so then it's
Yeah, I can
probably
also hear. I can also hear.
okay. Okay, I think I'll have to log out and again join. Okay.
Oh, okay. So, but the impersonalists, they cannot appreciate Krishna's, you know, Krishna having these different types of pastimes. What the impersonalist wants, he just wants to sit in the light. So according to him, the conception of God is just that he's light. So Krishna reveals to him in that way. And the yogis, they want to know Krishna only as Paramatma. So Krishna reveals to them in that way. But the pure devotees, the devotees of the Lord, they want to know Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's qualities, his glories, as he is, what he likes, what he doesn't like. And so Krishna reveals that to them. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that as you surrender, so I reveal to you. Mam yatha ye prapadayante tams tatheva bhajami aham. That as one surrenders to that degree, he reveals himself. Krishna says that. So sometimes when attacked in the forest by demons, Krishna would appear struck with wonder. But he looked on them like a club of lion and killed them. His childhood companions would also be struck with wonder. And when they came back home, they would narrate the story to their parents, and everyone would appreciate the qualities of their Krishna. So although Krishna was in the form of a baby, there were so many demons who were coming every time. And then when these demons were wanting to kill Krishna, instead they would get killed. And everybody would wonder what happened. Even the demon wouldn't be expecting that of Krishna, because they would say, oh, this is just an ordinary child. They didn't expect that Krishna is going to kill them. And then the children would be, I don't know if you all have heard, when children are excited when they see something wonderful, and then how they express, that even the parents feel so enthusiastic to hear them. So the children would be so enthusiastic. Krishna did this today. Like this. He took the Trinavarta, took him like that up in the sky, and then he bashed him down. Like so excited. So child Krishna did not belong only to his parents, Nanda and Yashoda. He was the son of all the elderly inhabitants of Vrindavan and the friend of all contemporary boys and girls. Everyone loved Krishna. He was the life and soul of everyone, including the animals, the cows, and the calves. So it's not only that Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai, that they have this Vatsalya Ras, the mood of being a parent. Even all the elderly Gopas and the Gopis had this mood of being a parent. They would love Krishna more than they would love their own children, which was evident, we saw in the Brahma Vimohan Leela, that when Krishna became he expanded himself into the different Gopas and the cows of the different cowherd men, the children, he became the children of the other cowherd men. How those parents were loving so much more to their children, because everyone's center of love is actually Krishna. In Vrindavan, everyone loves Krishna. And then all the children of Krishna's age, contemporary boys and girls, they all have this friendship relationship with him. And even the animals love Krishna. Even the animals, the cows, the calves, the peacock, the deer, they all just love Krishna. Is that okay?
That means nobody envied Krishna in Vraj, right? Everybody loved him. That's why they were very, very pure souls. That's why they were there.
Yeah, that's the qualification of being in Vrindavan. We can go to Vrindavan only when we give up our envy of Krishna. Yeah. And so we can pray to these inhabitants of Vraj, we can pray to them. Give us this love that you have for Krishna, please. You can pray to their lotus feet. So text 29. Sa eva godhanam lakshmya niketam sita govrasham charayan anugan gopan ranad venur Arir Mat. While herding the very beautiful bulls, the Lord, who was the reservoir of all opulence and fortune, used to blow his flute, and thus he enlivened his faithful followers, the cowherd boys. As he grew to 6 and 7 years old, the Lord was given the charge of looking after the cows and bulls in the grazing grounds. He was the son of a well-to-do landholder who owned hundreds and thousands of cows. And according to Vedic economics, one is considered to be a rich man by the strength of his store of grains and cows. So Nanda Maharaj was a very rich person. He had 900,000 cows, and then Krishna would help him take care of certain cows. And even the bulls, now when he's 6 to 7 years, it's not that Krishna is saying, I'm the son of a rich man, so I'm just going to do nothing. No, he's also helping his dad in the family business of cow protection. So with only these two things, cows and grain, humanity can solve its eating problem. Human society needs only sufficient grain and sufficient cows to solve its economic problems. All other things but these two are artificial necessities created by man to kill his valuable life at the human level and waste his time in things which are not needed. Lord Krishna, as the teacher of human society, personally showed by his acts that the mercantile community, or the Vaishyas, should herd cows and bulls and thus give protection to the valuable animals. So Krishna had set up the society in such a way that everyone can live peacefully, comfortably, have enough food to eat, have enough comforts of life, but no need to have these artificial things which we are so used to now. Now, if you say, live a simple life, we will wonder what happened. No, we are so used to living in the city. But originally, traditionally, Krishna created this simple way of living so that our majority of the time can be utilized in hearing and chanting Krishna's glories. Why? So that we can make this last life. We can understand self-realization so that we have more time for self-realization. And then at the end of this human life, we can go back home, back to Godhead. So now we can see how in Kali Yuga, as the time is progressing, how we are creating more and more artificial needs for ourselves. And those first, they used to be luxury, but now they become needs. We can't live without those things. If we can recollect, when we were children, there were so many things we didn't have at that time. All that are our needs right now. But now if you say, life without a mobile phone, and we're like, what? How can we communicate? But when we were small, we did live, without mobile phones. So anyway, we can't help that, but what we can do is whatever things we have, utilize that in Krishna's service. Engage everything in Krishna's service. We can't go back in time, but we can use everything in Krishna's service. Lord Krishna, as the teacher of human society, personally showed by his acts that the mercantile community, or the Vaishyas, should herd cows and bulls and thus give protection to the valuable animals. According to Smriti regulation, the cow is the mother and the bull is the father of the human being. The cow is the mother because just as one sucks the breast of one's mother, human society takes cow's milk. Similarly, the bull is the father of human society because the father earns for the children, just as the bull tills the ground to produce food grains. Human society will kill its spirit of life by killing the father and the mother. It is mentioned herein that the beautiful cows and bulls were of various checkered colors, red, black, green, yellow, ash, etc. And because of their colors and healthy smiling features, the atmosphere was enlivening. Over and above all, the Lord used to play his celebrated flute. The sound vibrated by his flute would give his friends such transcendental pleasure that they would forget all the talks of Brahmananda, which is so praised by the impersonalists. So the Gyanis, they like to speak about the Brahma Jyoti, They like to hear about the Vedanta Sutra. But the flute, the sound of the flute would give so much pleasure to Krishna's friends, to all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, that they don't want to hear this dry talks of philosophy, dry talks of the impersonal Brahman. Compared to Krishna's personal activities, Krishna's glories, the philosophy of Brahman, that is very, very dry. These cowherd boys, as will be explained by Sukadev Goswami, were living entities who had accumulated heaps of pious acts and thus were enjoying with the Lord in person and were hearing his transcendental flute. So all these boys that are with Krishna, they are not ordinary souls. In their past lives, they were great yogis and rishis, and they have accumulated heaps of pious activities. No ordinary person can have a personal relationship with Krishna. There has to be certain qualification. There has to be, and what's that qualification? A desire to be with Krishna, that attraction to be with Krishna. Understanding that, okay, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and I want to be with him. Having that love for Krishna, that is the qualification to be with Krishna, that love. The Brahma Samhita 5.30 confirms the Lord's blowing his transcendental flute. Venum panantam arabinda dalaya taksham varahavatam sham asitam buddhasundarangam kandarpakoti kamaniya vishesha shobham govindam adipurusham tam aham bhajami. Brahmaji said, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who plays on his transcendental flute. His eyes are like lotus flowers. He is decorated with peacock plumes, and his bodily color resembles a fresh black cloud, although his bodily features are more beautiful than millions of cupids. These are the special features of the Lord. So Brahmaji, he is an authority because he has seen Krishna. So when he's speaking this Brahma Samhita, he's seeing the Lord is in front of him. And that's how he can say, oh, the Lord has beautiful lotus eyes. His eyes are like lotus flowers. He has peacock feathers in his hair. His hair is like a curly black hair. He's got curly black hair, bluish blackish complexion. Brahmaji is seeing him. So we just have to follow the authority. We do not have to waste our time in doing research work. If we want to ask who's our father, we just ask the mother, my dear mother, who's my father? And she'll tell you, she can tell us, my dear child, this and this person is your father. Now, if we want to say, no, I will not ask my mother, I will go and ask everyone in the world, who's my father? That will take time, right? And also, not only it will take time, we might get misguided. Somebody might tell us the untruth. Somebody might lie to us. So the Vedas are our authority. The Vedas are the mother. So we should hear from the authority. Even in material knowledge, we are always hearing from authority. When we are sick, we go to the doctor. We do go to the doctor because we know the doctor is the authority. He will cure my disease. So our disease of this material infection that we have can be cured by hearing from the spiritual authorities, from the pure devotees of the Lord. Any questions or comments? No, then we can continue. Prayuktan boja rajena mayina kamarupinaha Leelaya vyano dattamstan bala kridanakan iva. The great wizards who were able to assume any form were engaged by the king of Bhoja, Kamsa, to kill Krishna. But in the course of his pastimes, the Lord killed them as easily as a child breaks dolls. The atheist Kamsa wanted to kill Krishna just after his birth. He failed to do so, but later on he got information that Krishna was living in Vrindavan at the house of Nanda Maharaj. He therefore engaged many wizards who could perform wonderful acts and assume any form they liked. All of them appeared before the child Lord in various forms like Aga, Baka, Putana, Shakata, Trinavarta, Dhenuka, and Gardhaba. And they tried to kill the Lord at every opportunity. But one after another, all of them were killed by the Lord, as if he were only playing with dolls. Children play with toy lions, elephants, boars, and many similar dolls, which are broken by the children in the course of their playing with them. Before the Almighty Lord, any powerful living being is just like a toy lion in the hands of a playing child. No one can excel God in any capacity, and therefore no one can be equal to or greater than him, nor can anyone attain the stage of equality with God by any kind of endeavor. So there are so many people who say, I'm an incarnation of Krishna, or this one is an incarnation of Krishna, or that one is an incarnation of Krishna. But we can see how Krishna is performing such activities right from when he's a baby. He's just drinking milk from his mother's breast. He's just so small, few days old probably, that he killed Putana, the demon, you know. So we should not just get carried away when people say that they are this incarnation or that incarnation. All the incarnations are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Bhagavatam mentions the incarnations of Krishna. So Jnana, Yoga, and Bhakti are the three recognized processes of spiritual realization. Sorry. The perfection of such processes can lead one to the desired goal of life in spiritual value. But that does not mean that one can attain a perfection equal to the Lord's by such endeavors. So it's not that by doing bhakti, by hearing and chanting about Krishna, we are going to become Krishna one day. Or that if we try to get knowledge of matter and spirit, that, oh, the body is matter, this material world is matter, but I am the spirit soul. And then there is a Brahma Jyoti, which is also Brahman, which is, you know, not material. The quality is transcendental. By knowing this knowledge, we are not going to become God. Nobody can become Krishna. Or no matter how much we try, we get how much ever mystic powers we get. There are eight mystic perfections. You can become bigger, very big. You can become very, very small. You can become light like a feather. You can also create a planet. You can expand. I don't know how many times that you can expand, you know. But all those are still limited. We can never, even though we have those powers, we can never ever become Krishna. No one can become Krishna. The Lord is the Lord at every stage. When he was playing just like a child on the lap of his mother Yashoda Mai, or just like a cowherd boy with his transcendental friends, he continued to remain God without the slightest diminution of his six opulences. Thus, he is always unrivaled. Krishna is always God, supreme God, even though if he's appearing like a tiny baby, you know, and Yashoda Mai is giving him so much affection and he's sucking her breast for the milk, but he's still God when he's doing that. This is the inconceivable pastimes of Krishna. Is that okay? Okay. So text 31.
That means you said that even if the yogis, like the three of them, right? The Gyan, Dhyan, and Bhakti, still, even no matter how much the person does that, he will still be not Krishna, right? That's what it means. Okay.
Yes. Because there are some people who do bhakti, they say, okay, I will chant and dance Hare Krishna, but after I give up this body, then I don't need to do that anymore. I will become God. You know, I will sit in the light. I will go to the Brahmajyoti and I will become God. But nobody can become Krishna.
Yeah.
Text 31. Vipanan Vishapanena Nigraya Bhujagadipam Uthapyaya Uthapyapaya Yad Gavas Tattoyam Prakriti Sthitam. The inhabitants of Vrindavan were perplexed by great difficulties because a certain portion of the Jamuna was poisoned by the chief of the reptiles, Kalia. The Lord chastised the snake king within the water and drove him away. And after coming out of the river, he caused the cows to drink the water and proved that the water was again in its natural state. So here Uddhav, so we can see how from his being born, Uddhav is recollecting these various pastimes of Krishna, because Vidur was asking him about Krishna. So Uddhav is recollecting, oh, Krishna did this, Krishna did that, you know. We also have that experience when we are talking about our loved ones, then we will say, oh, you know, he used to do like this or she used to do like this. So here Uddhav is speaking about the Kalia pastime. So much love Uddhav has for Krishna. So Aya Jayad Go Savena Goparajam Dvijotamahe Vitasya Choru Bharasya Chikirshan Sadvyayam Vibhuhu. The Supreme Lord Krishna desired to utilize the opulent financial strength of Maharaj Nanda for worship of the cows. And also he wanted to give a lesson to Indra, the king of heaven. Thus he advised his father to perform worship of Go, or the pasturing land and the cows, with the help of learned Brahmanas. So here Uddhav is saying about the Govardhan Puja. So even though Uddhav was in Dwarka, Uddhav had not been here when these Vrindavan pastimes were going on, but he had heard these pastimes. And so he's recounting these pastimes to Vidur. Since he's the teacher of everyone, the Lord also taught his father, Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj was a well-to-do landholder and owner of many cows, and as was the custom, he used to perform yearly worship of Indra, the king of heaven, with great opulence. This worship of demigods by the general populace is also advised in the Vedic literature, just so people can accept the superior power of the Lord. So the Vedas, there is the Karma Kand section of the Vedas, which says, yes, you should do demigod worship, because everyone is not a pure devotee. So to gradually elevate a person to pure devotional service, so that by doing this demigod worship, by sacrificing for the demigods, then at least that concept is there that someone is higher than me. And that when the devotees are coming to do, when the Brahmanas are coming to do this worship for the sacrifice, for the householder who's performing the sacrifice, then the Brahmana can explain to them, oh, you know, this is not it. With this, you're just going to go to the heavenly planets, but there is a spiritual world beyond the heavenly planets. And then, you know, so there can be a gradual elevation of consciousness. This worship of demigods by the general, we did that. The demigods are servants of the Lord, deputed to look after the management of various activities of universal affairs. Therefore, it is advised in the Vedic scriptures that one should perform yagyas to appease the demigods. But one who is devoted to the Supreme Lord has no need to appease the demigods. Worship of the demigods by common people is an arrangement for acknowledging the supremacy of the Supreme Lord, but it is not necessary. Such appeasement is generally recommended for material gains only. As we have already discussed in the second canto of this literature, one who admits the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not need to worship the secondary demigods. So the demigod worship is there just to accept that we are not supreme, we the human beings, because we think we are independent. You know, we think we are there's no one higher than us. But when we are performing demigod worship, then we are accepting, yes, there is somebody who's higher than me. Because of him, I'm getting all these luxuries. We usually do demigod worship so we can get more comforts, you know. So that all these comforts are not coming only because of me. There is a higher power who's giving me these comforts. Sometimes being worshipped and adored by less intelligent living beings, the demigods become puffed up with power and forget the supremacy of the Lord. This happened when Lord Krishna was present in the universe, and thus the Lord wanted to give a lesson to the king of heaven, Indra. He therefore asked Maharaj Nanda to stop the sacrifice offered to Indra and to use the money properly by performing a ceremony worshipping the cows and the pasturing ground on the hill of Govardhan. By this act, Lord Krishna taught human society, as he has instructed in the Bhagavad Gita also, that one should worship the Supreme Lord by all acts and by all their results. That will bring about the desired success. The Vaishyas are specifically advised to give protection to the cows and their pasturing ground or agricultural land instead of squandering their hard-earned money. That will satisfy the Lord. The perfection of one's occupational duty, whether in the sphere of duty to oneself, one's community, or one's nation, is judged by the degree to which the Lord is satisfied. So when we do the demigod worship, sometimes the demigods, they become proud and they start thinking, oh yes, it's because of me. Of course, these people should pray to me, of course, because I'm the one who's providing them so much. They forget that there is higher, that Krishna is higher than them. And then Krishna too, because Indra had become proud, and so just to, to take away Indra's pride, to make him again come back to his position of being a servant of Krishna, Krishna is very merciful because pride takes us away from Krishna. Humility brings us closer to Krishna. And so Krishna likes his devotees to be humble. So Indra was forgetting Krishna by becoming proud. And so Krishna showed Nanda Maharaj how, in fact, to use all the resources that he had to worship Govardhan Hill, to worship cows. And here is a very important point, that because each one of us says, I have to do my duty, I have to take care of my children, my family, my community, whatever, my parents, my spouse. But what is the reason that we have to do this duty? Why do we have to do it? For the pleasure of Krishna. For the pleasure of Krishna. Then that is the success of doing our duty. That Krishna, I am somehow or the other, I'm in this position, my past karma, and you have given me, you have put me in this position, and for my past karma, I'm in this position. Please help me to do my duty to the best ability for your satisfaction, for your pleasure. That's what Bhagavatam says. So we can stop here for today. Any comments?
No, on the
Shri Krishna Arpanam Mastu.
I'm sorry?
Shri Krishna Arpanam Mastu. For his
I offer everything to Krishna.
Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Hare Hare Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.